My name's John Nakane. I'm a faculty member here in UBC's engineering programs. I look after the integrated engineering program. That's the one that this room's about. And very pleased to answer any questions that you've got about the program and to showcase some things that I think are cool about how we set things up. Just to orient yourselves as you're here, you can open up the Q&A and ask any questions that are there, or let me know if there's something up that you cannot see. The thing that I would love to highlight though is that somewhere on the screen, if you look, there's a button called Resources. Might be right around, well, I don't know where it is on your screen exactly, but click on Resources. There should be a button that says Links to IGEN Info. If you click on that, you'll actually get to a Google Doc page that has a whole bunch of links about the program, about things that might be interesting for you, about things related to our alumni, about things that I'll be talking about here. So feel free to open that up, click on things as I'm talking, and to learn a little bit about what we're all about as well. So with that in mind, let's dive in. So, integrated engineering. It's a program that exists in order to satisfy some like sort of an area of interest where students want to have a little more, I guess, input, a little more leadership when it comes to the direction for their programs. And direction means maybe direction on the kinds of projects that they will work on the types of courses that they might experience, and training to allow them to take advantage of this as well. So we combine a whole bunch of these things together into a program that can't really fit into any of the other existing programs as well. So what does this look like in practice? What can you expect when you're going through this process overall? So absolutely, there is an integrated element. It's built into the name. And our core courses are ones that come from all the other disciplines. So there are there's in a day you might be a student in IGEN going and taking courses where you sit next to the mechanical engineering students, and then you leave that and then you go and sit in your elect class with the electrical engineering students. And then later on, you sit with the mining students in their class. And then after that, you leave and go sit with the engineering physics students and the civil students together, some combinations. And what that means is that you get to see what those worlds are like, and you get to go across and actually experience what it is that those students in those disciplines will see. And the reason why I think that's a valuable experience is because you get a chance to see their pain points. You get a chance to learn their language. You get a chance to really see what their whole experience is gonna be like. And so, with that in mind, I think that it does give students a chance to learn how to communicate and learn how to work across different disciplines. There are people who work in those disciplines, the specific ones, that never got that training. So they don't actually know how to work across disciplines. And with bigger projects and with the need from industry to communicate across different disciplines so that big projects don't go crazy and off the rails, they lack that kind of skill. And so it's embedded, it's built into iGens for being able to get good at that kind of communication, that kind of project management. Now, we also want students to dive in deep for a technical experience, and that's where the technical electives come in. Technical electives are courses that students will choose for themselves. If you're in one of the other disciplines, that usually means taking upper year classes, senior classes from your discipline. You're a mech student, you take courses that you choose, but they're in mech. If you're a materials student, you take courses that you choose, but they're in materials. You're an iGen student. We say, what two disciplines speak to you? Which two disciplines sort of mean the most to you for your future? You pick those, and you strategically pick technical electives in those areas, and combine them in your program in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you were a student in these other things. And I think there's some power to that. There's the chance to tailor your experience to where you see opportunities, in a way that industry you might see the industry going, in a way that you might predict where things should be. I'll give you an example. So let's say that you were interested in mining engineering, that you think resources are on the upswing. It's something that you'd like to participate in. You want to have an approach that's a sustainable one overall. You want to be there. But you also want to take computer engineering. And you think that there's going to be an opportunity to really apply computing tools in mining engineering in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you went into either of the other worlds. Like if you went into mining, maybe you don't get much programming. If you go into computer engineering, you'll never see mining. And so being able to combine those two yourself, you've taken ownership, then that gives you a chance to sort of take advantage and set yourself up as a very different looking student, very different looking graduate going into those areas. And so that's a cool thing to be able to do and to tailor for yourself. Not only can you tailor the courses, but you can also tailor the projects that you work on as well. So in IGEN, the expectation is that you will take courses that will be in different areas, and you also take projects that might be in different areas as well. Now, the projects that you choose and work on, in most programs, you do this in fourth year. You get one open-ended project, you work on it as a team. It's like a culminating experience, and that's pretty typical. In iGen, we give you three shots at this. So in second year, in third year, in fourth year, you are working on an open-ended project. You can't escape. And not only that, the students in our program really thrive under that. They come in knowing that this is their experience. They want to be able to put it onto their resumes. They want to take ownership. The other thing, though, is that second point. Projects are initiated by students training by students themselves. So they're trained to identify critical areas that need real engineering solutions. So every project that is available to students were ones that students pitched to the class. Now think about that. That means that the better students are at identifying problems and pitching those to the students' population, the better they get at investigating and trying to identify what's important and what's not. If they get stronger at that, then they that's the goal of our program. We want people to be excellent at that. Because it turns out that if you're good at identifying problems and prioritizing, that makes you an incredible valuable employee. That makes you an incredibly valuable sort of founder of a startup company. And so our program has that bit built in. We want students to get good at it, so we give multiple opportunities to do exactly that. Okay. Now, as far as the entrepreneurial mindset that goes along with that, we don't necessarily want every student to like start a company themselves or to be a founder of a company or to join a startup. A lot do. We have a number of startups that came from IGEN alumni and students. Students have started companies. But more importantly, we want people to have that mindset. We want people to be active about always looking for opportunities, flagging them within whatever company they're in, and then building up teams to pursue them. And so we have that as the part of the projects. We also have that as part of the core courses as well. So we have a core course in entrepreneurship, and it's baked into our project courses as well. And I think a lot of students get drawn into that. What can you expect from the student experience and what your time here at UBC might look like? So at the heart of it, though, of the calendar year, there's one day in particular that iGens will highlight, and that's the end of year design and innovation day. That's showcase day. That's the chance for all the years of iGen to come together to showcase all their projects. Now, all other departments are there as well. It's just that we do it bigger. We have projects across all years of our program. We take over the biggest area. I think we show a wider variety of projects, and it's just an incredible day for our students to experience and to be able to showcase their work with things that they've been working on all year. In order to put this together, we do have an iGen workshop space as well. So if you follow along with that resource button, the links to iGen info, you can click and follow and see some of that info. There's a workshop link to our Notion site, and that tells you about some of the resources. So water jet cutters, CNC mills, welding, we have that as part of our setup, and laser cutting. So all those are available for our students to pursue as part of the project work they're working on. Now, not only do people work on projects, but UBC as a whole is famous for student design teams. These are teams where students are building for the year and they go to a competition They're flying everywhere across North America and the world to compete. And UBC happens to have like the greatest number of teams around than any other institution that I really know of. And it's not an order of magnitude bigger, but it's like double. It's a lot of comparable institutions. We say yes to a lot. And what that means is that students have to do things for themselves. They're building things up, they're building their teams, and that's exactly how they execute on things. So any competition you hear about, you'll be able to see that on our list, the IGEN list of links as well. Now, what kind of jobs do people get afterwards? What kind of careers? Is this a legitimate degree? I hadn't necessarily heard of it before. We've been around for over 20 years of graduating students and putting them out into industry. So I went back and I picked out like five relatively recent alumni. So these are folks that are like 4 or 5 years out. And these are the kinds of jobs that they're working at. So I want you to do something. I want you to look at their names, year of graduation. I want you to look in red. In red are the combinations of courses that they took as undergrads. So these are their technical electives, right? And then, so you can see Ronan took mech and materials, Nicola took civil and mech, and so on. And then I want you to look at their jobs. So that's in bold. So what are they doing for a living? And I think what you'll see from that list is that that combination of courses and experiences and projects kind of makes sense. Like you can see how they link together in what they are pursuing now. And I think that's cool. I think that again, you wouldn't be excluded from working in these areas if you went through, say, materials or elec, or if Clarissa went through CPEN or elec to do this. You wouldn't be excluded. You would be reasonably well prepared. But going through this route maybe sets people up for a type of success, a type of potential for impact that would have been different had they gone into these other specific disciplines. And so if you ask these folks, are they happy with having gone through this? I think they would reply, yeah. In fact, I got emails from Sophia once that said exactly that. So a couple of years after graduation, she'd been working at QuantumScape for a few months, and she just highlighted, you know what? Having this combination actually worked out incredibly well for me going through in this area. That was unsolicited email. I really liked hearing about that. So that can happen for jobs. Like the combination of classes and experience can line you up really well for different types of industries that other traditional disciplines would line up as well. So we're not excluded from anything. Maybe we even become more powerful because of that. I often get asked about graduate school, and yeah, absolutely, iGens go. And so same thing here. You can look at their names and the year that they graduated. You can look at the combinations that they had of not only the courses, but if they took a minor in different areas. And then you can see the schools that they went to. And these are pretty recognizable names. And not only that, but the kinds of areas that they had worked on. This is a little out of date, I realize now, because Melvin finished his master's degree at ETH Zurich. He visited MIT, did some stuff there, but then ended up now works for Google, for Google's quantum computing unit, and is applying exactly the kind of skill set that he has worked on in the past. Looking at someone like Zoe, Zoe's interesting because I actually just today talked to an IGEN alum or undergrad about her work. And for Zoe, she was always interested in architecture, sustainable building solutions. She'd done internships as sort of in support of architecture when she was a recent grad. Went to MIT, did a master's in building technology there. Again, thinking about infrastructure, buildings, and sustainability. And in the end, no, I found out today when I was looking her up, she took that degree and that experience and has pivoted a bit towards something different. She set up her own company. She has her own consulting company where she looks at wind turbine designs and wind turbine technologies. And so taking these experiences in building structures and building different structures. And that's awesome. I'm really proud. I'll get in touch with her and just see how things are going. But she's in Denmark now working on these types of things as well. Looking at Atlas, still working on her PhD at Stanford, been doing that for a couple of years. And people do often ask if IGENs work in aerospace, and yeah, absolutely. Sometimes directly, but in the case of someone like Sinric, who got in touch with me not too long ago, yeah, he went out east and pursued a master's in aerospace engineering, and now he works. He never came back from out east, so he stayed at Bombardier, a little further east in Montreal, and he's liking that life a lot as well. So that's actually almost exactly on time. When it comes to wrapping up sort of the 15-minute sort of overview here, I thank you for sticking around and hearing about the iGen program. Here's a photo of all of us at the Design and Innovation Day. So at the wrap up, we're all celebrating a bit. Thinking about the program, wanting to learn more, if you click again on the resources button at the bottom of the Zoom screen, it says resources. There should be something that says links to iGen info. You can get links to all sorts of info about these, like the LinkedIn profiles for the people that I'd mentioned, and links to other interesting things about the program as well. At this point, though, I'm happy to do a couple things. I'm happy to answer any questions that come up. So this being a webinar, you can use the Q&A section to ask any questions that might come up on your end. I've had that sort of, I've been staring at that through the session, but you're welcome to take advantage of that. I'm also happy to jump to the start of the presentation, kind of walk through again. We had a few people jump in a little bit later and they didn't get a chance to see from the beginning, so I can go through that as well. So I will slowly go backwards, well, quickly go backwards, and then slowly start going through again. But absolutely, if there's any questions or any info that you'd like to hear about, hop into the Q&A. Anyways, where we got started though was talking about this is the integrated engineering room. Integrated engineering is one of the 14 undergrad programs that we have here at UBC. It's a accredited program. We have students, about 60 students, almost 70 students per year coming in to the program and experiencing this. And on my end, I've been with the program since 2018. The first graduates from the program were back in 2003. So we've been around for a little over 20 years of graduating students. And what the program is, it tries to combine a few different elements that don't quite fit in with other programs. We want to have students who have extensive hands-on open-ended projects. We want them to take ownership of those projects. We want them to think a little more entrepreneurially than potentially in other programs. And we want students to have the chance to take courses strategically across different disciplines so they can dive in deep into these other areas and put together combinations that don't normally exist in these other disciplines as well. So what does that look like in practice when it comes to the actual degree itself? Well, for one thing, there is this integrated element for how we put things together. So core courses, these are courses that all IGENs are supposed to take. They come across all the different disciplines. So we have courses where students in IGEN are going to one class and they're sitting next to mechanical engineering students. They will go to their next class. They're going to sit next to the EngPhys students. They go to their next class. They're sitting next to the mining students. And they get a chance to see what those worlds are like in a way that doesn't normally happen. So we think that there's incredible value for students seeing what these different worlds look like. We want students to learn different languages, different engineering languages. We want students to hear about struggles that happen in the other programs. We want them to get good in at being able to switch gears and to talk elec and to talk materials and to talk mining and to talk civil. We think that there's power in that. Um, Oftentimes when students are executing on different kinds of projects, I will get to put these things together and being able to have students sort of experience these things as they're going through. Now, for working on these things, um, not only are there core courses, but there's also technical electives. And so, in that regard, these are courses that students will self-select for themselves. They'll be strategic about choosing which areas they want to go to. And this, at least two disciplines, is different. So if you're a mech student, you get to have choice in courses for some of them, but they're going to be mech courses. That's your world. If you're a materials students, you get choice in a bunch of your courses, but your world is within the mechanical or the materials engineering world. If you're an IGEN student, we say, no, no, take your tech courses from at least two different areas. And with that in mind, students in IGEN are strategic about which areas they want to take their courses, and also what areas of specialization they want. So maybe they will take courses in civil engineering. That's an interest for them. And they won't be able to take the whole world of civil, but they take the courses in civil that matter to them. Maybe they really care about hydro related things. They think water projects, river projects, dams, things like that are going to be important to them. Less so about buildings. Maybe they don't worry about bridges or timber structures and stuff. They just care about water maintenance things. And maybe they want to combine that with something like computer engineering. They think that civil engineers don't see enough computing, so there's like an opportunity for them there. So with that in mind, they will strategically combine these areas, take courses that they care about, and make them into a program that matters to them and that they can sell when they go and look for job opportunities or graduate student opportunities later. And so very pleased that there's these things that might pop up this way. And I think iGens think a lot about how they can put together combinations that sort of work for them. So if you want to get a sense of the kinds of courses that people will take, click down on the resources area down at the bottom of the Zoom screen. There should be something that says resources and then links to IGEN info. You click on that and you should get to like a Google Doc page, and that Google Doc page gives you links to all the things that we're talking about here. So you can learn about some of the things that are around. So again, click on the resources button down at the bottom, and that takes you to a Google Doc page that has a whole bunch of potentially interesting links, including courses that the iGens will take. Projects are something that's interesting as well. So if you are interested in the kinds of things that students will work on, these are all student-initiated projects. And so these are things where students are the ones coming up with ideas. They're the ones that are looking for pain points. They're the ones that are trying to build up teams in order to take on the project. And I think for a lot of our students, they're excited about that. They want to get good at that particular skill set. And if they get good at that, that's the kind of thing that they could do in the workplace as well. People who are good at identifying like the most important projects and to get people excited and to build teams around those become incredibly valuable, incredibly resourceful people to have on your team. Um, and the fact that in iGen, they'll work on three open-ended projects, year-long ones throughout. So other programs, there'll be a fourth-year open-ended project. Every engineering program has it. But iGen's the only one that I know of that has three shots at this. Second year, third year, fourth year to work on open-ended things to get more design experience this way. So what does this look like? We want students to have sort of an entrepreneurial mindset when they're coming and approaching different things. And so we don't necessarily want all these students to start up companies necessarily, but we want students to be comfortable with coming up with ideas. And again, thinking about opportunities and identifying them and prioritizing them. We think that that makes you a more valuable employee overall. And so that becomes a highlight for our program as well. So what does that mean? What can you expect for the student experience side of things? There's a day where we highlight all of the projects. Design and Innovation Day is sort of our highlight day. If you want to get a chance to see the range of different projects that people will put on and showcase at that end of year event, you can click on the resources button down at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you do that, there should be something called links to IGEN info that shows up down there as well. And if you click on that, you'll end up getting to the Google Doc page that has a whole bunch of links, one of which is examples of student projects. So you click on there and you can actually see the full range of different kinds of opportunities that are around for students. Maybe that's the most valuable thing that persists after this shuts down. The last thing I'll do before I shut down the room, before we move on to the next location, is to just highlight that for integrated engineering graduates, alumni, where do they end up? It's interesting to see, right? So a page like this is interesting because you can see their names, You can see the year that they graduated. You can see the companies that they work for, and you can see the kind of roles that they have. What is it that they're actually doing in their role? And the cool thing is, you look down at that role, and then you look back and see what programs did they actually take when they were here? What areas of specialization did they have for their courses? And for all the ones that I pulled from here, these are all 4 or 5 years out. They all make sense. Like you can see this combination where a combination of these two things really line up well for the work that they end up doing. Now, that's not to say that if you did, say, mech or materials on their own, if you're in one of those programs, could you work in this area? For sure. Doesn't exclude you. But I think that some areas and combinations keep you flexible and give you a chance to participate in development in a way that if you went through these other disciplines, maybe you don't. And so again, it's looking for opportunities. It's trying to combine these different elements. It's looking for an experience where you take leadership in the direction for where you want to go. Same thing with grad studies. Last slide I'll show is just that people ask about grad studies. Absolutely. You can look at the names. You can look at the year of graduation. You can look at the courses. And then you can look to see where they ended up as graduate students for their master's degrees or their PhDs. Some of the biggest names across the world, and also the kinds of degrees that they got and what they studied. And for all those folks, I think they're incredibly pleased about where they ended up, and IGEN was one of the reasons why they got to where they are as well. So again, if you click on that resources link, you can read about these folks straight from their LinkedIn bios as well. So click on the resources button down below, click on links to IGEN info, and that takes you to the resources page. Again, very pleased to have been here tonight at Vancouver to answer any questions. I've got to shut this room down and prep the next drop-in room, but I hope that this helped you out a little bit. It was a little bit fun to see what graduates and alumni and the programs are like. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you're located, and a chance to have one more round and see what's up. So have a good session, and I hope you had a good time.